Hello, friend. You're kind of like a bad rash, hard to get rid of, but nevertheless, I'm happy to have you back because you are a good time, and that's for damn sure. We are going to have a daiquiri today because I'm in a sour kind of mood, and the daiquiri, of course, is the granddaddy of all sours, the holy trinity, or as I like to call it, the unholy trinity, of rum, demerara sugar, and lime juice. It's been around for quite a long time because British sailors used to try to prevent scurvy in a more delectable way by combining watered-down rum rations with some lime juice and a bit of sugar, although some people like to say that this cocktail was created by a guy named Jennings Cox, an American mining engineer that was working in a mining village in Cuba near a beach of the same name, daiquiri. But that seems a little bit far-fetched because that was in 1898, and the British were trying to prevent scurvy like 150 years before that, if you know what I mean. So this has inspired many other styles of cocktails like the margarita, the sidecar, which we're also going to make after this because I need a drink too. I work so hard back here. I also need a drink because I have a bit of a sour taste in my mouth myself, as I've had some failed attempts to make purchases from strangers on the internet on a particular social media marketplace, which have been ill-fated. And that's because I think the basic laws of supply and demand exist outside of this particular marketplace on the internet. I'm no economist, but I have tried several times unsuccessfully to purchase a Art Deco Tudor Rose wardrobe because that's a necessity in everyone's home, is it not? I dare say that it is. So I'm shaking this particular cocktail because the spirits, the syrup, and the citrus juice all have different liquid densities. So I'm not an economist, I'm also not a chemist, but I am a cocktail alchemist. I'm going to fine strain to avoid getting ice chippies into my little coupe glass here. This is a Nick and Nora style glass. Anyway, at one point, months ago, I sent someone on this particular marketplace a question, and I said, I see that you're selling an Art Deco Tudor Rose wardrobe. And I said, what are the dimensions? Why would you post such unimportant details about the product you're trying to buy from a complete stranger? I don't know. Is it a wardrobe for ants? Or is it a wardrobe for full-grown people like myself? I never hear back from this particular vendor, and so I proceed elsewhere with my search for a wardrobe. And then, just last week, I get notified that I have a message, a photo message, from a name I simply don't recognize. And I assume, of course, that it's yet another unsolicited pic, which I'm absolutely plagued by for obvious reasons. But no, in fact, it was actually the dimensions I'd requested months earlier, not in a written format, but scribbled onto a used napkin and sent to me via messenger, and I had to explain, Karen, I found a different wardrobe, but thank you for following up. I've deserved this. I'm now going to move on to making a sidecar because it seems like a two-drink kind of day. Because more recently, I was in search of a games table for my future career as bridge champion at the senior citizens home. I'm aging quite rapidly, and so I'm trying to keep ahead of the curve by making sure that I'm well outfitted for my future bridge playing needs. And I messaged this person again, not particularly responsive, because why would you post something if you actually wanted to sell it? It's more of a decorative move, obviously. And so I don't hear back. I follow up because I am nothing if not persistent, okay? And so I eventually hear back from this person upon my second attempt at contacting them. And she says, oh, I'll have to find it first. Joan has listed a games table that she has lost track of. I don't know how one loses track of a games table unless it is, in fact, for ants, but she had no idea where it was, so clearly a precious family heirloom. And I said, well, let me know when you track it down. Again, no reply. A week later, I follow up again. She gets back to me. She says, yes, we found it. And I was like, okay. And so once more, what are the dimensions of this game table? And she says, I think it would just be easier for you to drive 45 minutes to go see it in person because it's at my sister-in-law's house. So why don't you just go ahead and do that, and then you can decide if you like it and you can take measurements. And I said, ma'am, do I look like someone that has time to burn? I am busy helping people belly up to the bar and have a damn good time and take the intimidation factor out of cocktails. And so she gets some supplicant, I assume, to actually locate the dimensions of this particular table and eventually sends them to me. And I said, fantastic, all well and good. But given the onerous affair that it has been trying to purchase an object that someone has listed for sale on the internet, naturally I negotiate. One thing I want you to know about 3-ingredient cocktails, like the Sidecar and like the daiquiri, is that using a quality spirit is non-negotiable, okay? There's not a lot of other things happening here to mask a poor quality spirit. You want to invest in the great basics, like a delicious cognac and a fantastic light rum for your daiquiri and for your Sidecar, respectively, okay? So I offer her $300. Originally it was listed for $800 and she'd marked it down to $5. But again, it didn't seem like she cared too much about this game table that A, she lost, and B, didn't have any sense of the dimensions of. So then I offer her $300, like the scoundrel that I am, incorrigible, in fact. And she says, much like I've just told you to say when someone tries to offer you one of these delicious 3-ingredient sours, she says, it's non-negotiable. And don't even get me started on people trying to sell mirrors on this particular marketplace, because it is hours of comedic gold. You know what, just stop watching this right now. I want you to just log on to your favorite digital marketplace and look up people selling mirrors. Half the time they're in it, or half the time it's a disembodied arm entering into the frame of the mirror. Either way, it's endless hours of entertainment. Oh. So here in the Sidecar, we've made this with lemon. The cognac has a beautiful, sharp, spirited base. The Cointreau is giving us a dry sour. It is a fantastic cocktail, and I know you're going to be back for another one, because how could you possibly resist my charm? And maybe I'll be able to find you some vintage glassware. Cheers.